Coming up on the Mike Smith podcast, I'm going to a game today. Yay. We also are going to be going over the Mets victory over the San Francisco Giants yesterday. And lastly, I'm going to do something that I am totally unqualified for, which is giving a psychological analysis of the psyche of Mets fans and going over their whole thing. So lots to go into. Let's get into it. Roll the music. Welcome to the Mike Smith podcast. I'm your host, Mike Pashota, and after a roller coaster of a week we have had as Mets fans, I'm feeling pretty good. And why? Well, one, I'm going to the Mets game today. It's going to be, I think, a great game. This is my annual thing that I do for my father, and not just my thing, also my brother also pitches in, and the two of us splits the cost of buying our dad a Mets game tickets, and he gets to go to a game of whatever is convenient for everybody. And we do this every year for Father's Day, so this is quite a bit away. It was a month and a half later, but this is his gift, so I'm very excited to be going to this game. Hopefully they win. And the other reason I'm feeling good is because the Mets are, for the moment, back on top of the world. So after a miserable losing streak that saw us slide right at first place, the Mets are back. The boys in blue and orange doing their thing. They absolutely steamrolled the San Francisco Giants 12-6. And in doing so, they not only snapped the skid here, but they also reclaimed their spot at the top of the NL East. They are back in first place. Phillies lost yesterday. Big day for everybody. This wasn't just a win, however. It was a psychological reset, desperately needed. We had a tough stretch. This team showed its mettle, though. I was very impressed by what they did. The victory really tells us everything that we need to know about this team, who they are, and where they're headed. So let's talk about the big picture, which is that this game was just a perfect example of what happens when one team decides to be a buyer at the trade deadline, and another team happens to be a seller. The seller, in this case, being the San Francisco Giants. The Mets went all in. They grabbed some serious bullpen arms. We've seen a few of them on display. Actually, we've seen all of them on display in this series. And the Giants were one of our biggest customers. They sold off one of their key pieces, Tyler Rogers, and we've already seen the immediate consequences of that decision. The Giants starter yesterday, I believe this is right, Kai Wai-Tang, I think I'm saying that right. He made his Major League Baseball debut yesterday, and it was a baptism by fire. The Mets offense was absolutely ruthless. The bullpen, which was a huge question mark a month ago, and even a few weeks ago, even I would say, this was completely different. You saw the guys we just acquired, Gregory Soto and Tyler Rogers, come in yesterday and shut things down. We have our new late game relief duo, Ryan Helsley and Edwin Diaz. Didn't have to come into this game at all. They were able to get a much needed day of rest. And this is what you do when you're a contender. You shore up your weaknesses and you put yourself in a position to win every single night. Extremely impressive what they did yesterday. And let's get into that game itself, because this was a masterclass in offense. Obviously, 12 runs. You have to start with Pete Alonso, and Alonso was the big story. So, in the bottom of the first inning, he hits his 250th career home run, 3-run shot that immediately gets the Mets a 3-0 lead. He is just the second Met in history to reach that milestone, and 2 home runs now away from tying the great Darryl Strawberry for the franchise record. So, how soon it happens for Pete is just really the question. We're waiting to see how many home runs Pete can hit in the season. But with 2 months left in the year, there's a very good chance that Pete Alonso not only breaks this record, but also is heading towards another a potentially career best year for him. He has definitely been sliding and struggling as of late, but I would still regard this season as a massive improvement over what he did last year. So Alonso's 3-run home run, huge. This was not just about the long ball, however. This was a very sophisticated, adaptable offensive attack from the Mets offense. We saw it from Francisco Lindor. He had a fantastic day. He drove in 4 runs. Most important play, it was a bunt in a tight game. He lays down a perfect bunt to the right side of the field. The Giants' defense completely blew it. Willie Adames, the shortstop, did not cover second base, so there was no play at second. And I think it was Dom Smith who fielded the ball. Did not had no options. Essentially, no one was covering first, and he didn't have time to make the throw to home plate. So, actually drives in a run on a bunt. It was just a perfectly laid down bunt, and we've seen this in the case of some teams that if you just put the ball in play, there's a good chance that their fundamentals are just going to blow this. And I do say I think the Mets fundamentals are very sound, as opposed to other teams like the Yankees or in this case the Giants. Giants fundamentals were not on display in this game. And it was a huge moment for Lindor. I mean, this is a perfect bunt for an infield hit that leads to a run. I mean, you have a star player, one of the best shortstops in the game, and a guy with a massive contract who is willing to play small ball to win. It's understandably a huge moment for him, because you're expecting him to try and hit the ball. You're expecting him to hit the 3-run home run or whatever, and you're not expecting him to lay down that bunt. It was a bold choice. I don't know if that was a choice on Lindor or a choice from Mendoza, but or if anyone has said his claim responsibility for that. But it was a huge sign of maturity and leadership that this is a guy who's willing to play small ball to win. That's a guy who wants to win a championship, and there's no question Lindor is a great leader and a guy who leads by example in terms of what he does. The top of the lineup, which had been struggling, was absolutely phenomenal, with the exception of Juan Soto, who had another tough game. We're kind of waiting for Soto to kind of regain his momentum that he had going into the All-Star break, because since he's come out of it, he hasn't really looked like the same player. He doesn't. Whatever he's been doing the last couple of weeks has not been working for him, so he needs to get back to doing what was working for him previously, which was which was driving the ball. He's leveled out his swing more, I've noticed, and he needs to get back to actually putting a little bit more of a launch angle underneath his swing, because he's doing the thing where he's just grounding at the second base again. The power is gone, and he has to figure out what he's doing because. When it comes to Soto, it's a matter of it's not that he's not hitting the ball; it's a matter of he's just making outs, and frankly, he actually is striking out more than we saw going into the All-Star break. So he is not looked right, and he has to figure it out, because if you're going to be in the third hole, you have to be hitting, and it's not all on Soto. It has been everybody in the 1 through 4 spots. I'll make the claim again that this is the best 1 through 4 in baseball, with Nimmo, Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. But if those guys aren't hitting, then the offense really struggles. So everybody needed to come through. In this case, 3 out of 4 people came through. So Nimmo, Lindor, and Alonso, they all combined for 10 of the team's 12 RBIs. And when your best players are playing like your best players, you're going to win. The one thing we have to keep an eye on is the starting pitching. Kodai Senga had another rough outing. This was 4 innings from him, gives him 4 runs. This is his 3rd straight start where he has not looked like Kodai Senga in the beginning of the year. So since he's come back from the IL, it's been a tale of 2 Sengas, and it's a concern. Here's the thing. A lot of teams would have folded right there. If your starter is not doing what he has to be doing, he's giving you a short outing, it puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the pitching staff. We've seen that the entire year, that bullpen arms were being asked to pitch more, throw more innings, throw back-to-back games, whatever it was. And we've seen the result of that has been arm fatigue from Oscar Brazaban, who has been option bound to AAA. Reed Garrett, pick your reliever basically at this point with the Met bullpen. They were all just beleaguered and completely used up already, and the starting pitching staff did not really do them really any good. Starting in, I would say, from June on, and maybe even from like late May. This has been tough to watch, but this isn't just any pitching staff now. They have a new, retooled, resilient bullpen. They have stepped up in a huge way. They came in and pitched 5 innings, only allowed 2 runs, and both those runs came in garbage time in the 9th inning. They completely stifled the Giants' offense, which is not the greatest offensive attack, but impressive to see that a group of relievers were able to come in and just put that much of a lockdown on a professional team. I mean, this was a really great performance from a bullpen that can pick up a struggling starter when needed. That's the kind of depth that wins championships. It shows that we are not a fragile team. We can absorb an off day from a key player. And because of that, the rest of the team is strong enough to carry the load. That's an incredible achievement. So what's the big takeaway from the game is we're back. The Mets are back in first place, and the trick will be if they can take this success and keep it going. So we're going to talk about the psychological aspect of Mets fans, and we've heard the stereotypes. Mets fans are quote-unquote doomers. They're whiners. They're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Is there more to that? Is it just a case of a few bad apples, or is this something more profound? Is it a core part of our fan base's identity? And to understand what's going on, we have to kind of define our terms here. So we've got 2 main archetypes here, the doomers and the reactionaries. And for anyone who doesn't know, doomer is the person who, at the slightest hit of trouble, is going to declare the season's over. And a star player strikes out, they're on Twitter saying, it's freaking over, trade everybody. It's a deep-seated fatalism. It's a belief that no matter how good things look, the Mets are just destined to fail. This isn't just criticism, it's a deep-seated conviction. And for many, it's a way of emotional hedging. By predicting the worst, the pain is lessened if they're right. And they get this weird, perverse satisfaction from being proven correct in their pessimism. It's almost like a performative identity, a way of saying, I saw this coming. And then you have the reactionary fans, and this person is all about the immediate, often explosive response to a single event. They see a player make a small error in the 3rd inning of a game in May, and they're immediately calling for the manager to be fired and the whole roster to be blown up. It's a what have you done for me lately mentality. My dad kind of subscribes to this mentality, and it's his own way of kind of hoping that things are going to go right. It's very tiring, I will say, to be kind of exposed to that all the time. And I do tell him, I'm like, you're just being a doomer, or you're being reactionary, actually, in this case. So a doomer holds the belief, a reactionary screams it for all to hear. This isn't just a random emotional state. It's a coping mechanism. Once again, a way to handle what is a lifetime of disappointment. And to truly get to the root of this, you have to go back to the beginning, which is the first season of the Mets franchise, complete disaster. You go 40 and 120, and you establish an identity of lovable losers, and you get a loyal fan base. But over the decades, a pattern emerges, which is moments of incredible triumph, like in 1969, 1986, and they're followed by soul-crushing collapses. When we're talking about the Midnight Massacre, 1977, when they trade away Tom Seaver. We're talking about the World Series loss to the Yankees in 2000, the late season collapses of 2007, 2008, and it just goes on and on and on. This isn't just history, it's generational trauma. And this waiting for the shoe to drop mentality isn't something that a few wins can fix. It's a collective psychological imprint passed down from one generation of fans to the next. And the doomer mindset is, in a way, an almost justified response to this team's own history. It's really about what's been happening to us for years and years and years. And you can kind of fall into this trap of, well, things are just going to go badly for us. There's also deep-seated into a lot of this, the rivalry with the Yankees. For many Mets fans, their identity is rooted in the fact that they are not Yankees fans, and some people love that. I love that I'm not a Yankees fan. and I think of Yankees fans as kind of spoiled in this case because they've had a franchise that for years and years, decades and decades, has just been winning. And for Mets fans, they are the scrappy little brother, constantly forced to define themselves in the shadow of this dominant sibling. And this fuels a lot of frustration and possibly even a sense of an inferiority complex that really defines a lot of the fan base today. But it does feel worse now. And why does it feel worse? Because social media. Social media is a huge factor. The term doomer has gained prominence online these last couple of years, and these platforms are just a perfect breeding ground for this type of negativity, where they just amplify the loudest voices, and they create an echo chamber where extreme takes can seem like the majority opinion, because if you keep seeing posts and posts and posts of the same thing over and over again, it does seem like the majority is the one. That's the majority opinion. We've all seen it. We've seen a single player makes an error, and then within seconds, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, name your social media platform, is flooded with these posts to bench him, trade him, boo him. These platforms are really provide a stage for the reactionary fan to put their frustration on full display. And this creates a huge problem, which is a perception gap where players and external media will see the loudest, most negative voices and assume that represents the whole fan base. So what do we do to solve this? And it's not about telling these kinds of fans they're wrong. That's a non-starter. Don't do that. This is a deeply ingrained part of our culture. What we can think about is how to foster a healthier environment. And for the team, what they're doing is on the right track because it's about strategic and sort of empathetic communication. They have acknowledged their history. They have put in full view their legends. I really appreciate the way that they have taken to retiring numbers, really honoring their history. We see that with bringing back players for Old Timers Day or our equivalent of it, and acknowledging that history is a big part of it. You have to build trust, and you build trust by showing a commitment to winning and a long-term vision, which they have been doing. This isn't a quick fix. They brought in the right people to do this, but you have to earn that trust back over time, and I believe they are doing it. But it does take until you win that first championship. It's going to be a matter of you have to have faith in our process here. For the media, it's about providing context, and it's the lowest hanging fruit to just say "lol Mets" and just to say, "Oh, it's the same old thing. Would they do this?" And it's instead of highlighting the most absurd reactions in these cases, media outlets can really explain the why. They can talk about the history and the psychology that really underpins this stuff. They can amplify the voices of fans who are more optimistic and provide a more balanced view of the community. In this generation, the clickbait generation, that's really hard. You're going to be very hard pressed to find that. You just have to turn on WFAN, and it's just reactionary after reactionary talking, and they don't really want to hear the more balanced views from people. They want to hear the reactionaries because those will generate clicks and views for themselves. For fans, it's about acknowledging the division within our own fan base because we have the doomers and the optimists, and they are all going to clash over what it means to be a real Mets fan. I'm an optimist. The challenge is to kind of find common ground with the doomers, and obviously our common ground is always going to be we have a shared, undeniable passion for the New York Mets, and we need to channel that into a more constructive way. Mets fans are not broken. They are a very passionate, loyal, and indeed complex group of people whose love for the game is often inseparable from the pain that the team has caused them. And you know what? That's what makes being a Mets fan so unique. It's a shared emotional journey, one that's filled with both incredible highs and crushing lows. And if you want to look and see an example of what's going on with another fan base, look at Yankees fans right now who are dealing with really the first time in their lives that their franchise is kind of looked at like an embarrassment right now. That their on-field product is just ridiculous in terms of like the everyday, the daily errors, the base running mistakes, the coaches and front office that can't seem to like make up their mind in terms of like what they want to do and how they can show responsibility and how they can take responsibility. It's a it's a madhouse, and Yankees fans don't know what to do. I mean, to them, this is just like unprecedented. They've never seen their team be looked at and sort of laughed at like it is. And the World Series last year was a huge part of it. They are really struggling to kind of find their identity since then, and because it is not the dominant team now, they are starting to resemble more of the Mets, as incredible as that might seem, and the Mets are starting to resemble more of the Yankees. Maybe, just maybe, this is sort of a turning point for both these franchises. So keep that in mind. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're going to the game, I'll see you there. Please look for me if you happen to find me. My name is Mike Pashota. Thank you very much for listening to the Mike's Mets podcast, and take care. Thank you for listening to Mike's Mets podcast. If you haven't already, please follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like and a comment, it helps so much. Finally, please follow our Twitter and Blue Sky pages. You can find us at Twitter at Mike's Mets Pod, all one word, and on Blue Sky at Mike's Mets Podcast.bsky.social. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day or evening, and let's go Mets.